When Sergeant Alan Price came home from Vietnam, he thought the war was finally over, but the truth was, it had only followed him home. He didn't tell anyone about the voices or the smell of wet jungle that clung to his dreams, because deep down, he knew something else had come back with him. Alan was one of thousands, young men sent halfway across the world, told to fight, survive, and forget. But forgetting was impossible. The jungle never left them. Every rustle in the trees back home, every thunderstorm, brought back that sound of gunfire echoing through the green. He tried to drown it out with silence, but silence was louder than any war. Everyone fights a war that no one else can see. 1972, Alan Price steps off the plane in California. The crowd cheers for the returning soldiers. Cameras flash. But he's not really there. Behind his eyes, he's still in the jungle, mud up to his knees, the buzz of mosquitoes, and the smell of gunpowder mixed with rot. His mother hugs him, but her perfume makes him gag. It smells like the burning villages in Pleiku. At night, the crickets outside remind him of the jungle's heartbeat. Every time the wind brushes through the trees, he swears he hears voices whispering his name. It started one night in July. He woke to the sound of dripping water, but the roof wasn't leaking. He followed the sound to his hallway and found a trail of muddy footprints. Bare feet, small, childlike. They led straight to his living room. When he turned on the light, they were gone. No mud, no water, nothing. But the smell, wet soil and gunpowder, lingered. Alan began seeing them more often, a flicker of movement in the corner of his eye, a silhouette crouched by his bed, the sound of someone breathing in the dark. He thought it was the PTSD. The VA doctors said it was trauma replay, phantom stimuli they called it. But what he saw was no memory. One night, he saw a man standing in the doorway, wearing a torn uniform, barefoot, and his eyes were pure white. Alan whispered, "Charlie?" The figure smiled and whispered back, "Still here, Sergeant." Alan started sleeping during the day, afraid of the night. He'd wake up drenched in sweat, swearing he heard choppers. Neighbors said they'd seen him walking outside at 3 a.m., staring into the woods behind his house. Sometimes they said he was talking to someone. He told his old squad mate, Miller, about it. Miller didn't laugh. He'd been having the same dreams, same voices, same footprints in his house. "You ever think maybe the jungle never let us go?" Miller invited Alan over one night, said he had something to show him. When Alan arrived, the lights were off. Miller sat in the dark, holding a photo. It was their platoon, except someone had circled a man in red ink. Private Lewis, killed in 1969. "He's been standing outside my window every night," Miller said. Alan laughed nervously until the window behind Miller rattled. Outside, something moved. Tall, thin, its face hidden behind the glare of the porch light. It raised a hand, mud dripping from its fingers, and pointed directly at them. The next morning, Miller was gone. His truck still parked outside, front door wide open, and on the floor, muddy footprints leading into the woods. Alan followed them for miles until he reached the old train bridge at the edge of town. He looked down into the ravine below and saw boot prints, half submerged in the mud, leading into the tree line. And then, silence. Now, he wasn't sure if he was hunting ghosts or being hunted. He couldn't take it anymore. Alan bought a ticket back to Vietnam. He said he needed to see it again. When he arrived, He walked deep into the jungle where his unit had once been ambushed. The locals warned him not to go. They said the place was cursed, that soldiers who died there still walked at night. Alan went anyway. He followed the river until dusk, then made camp near the ruins of an old bunker. At 2:13 a.m., he heard movement, slow, wet. When he turned, he saw them, his entire squad, all the men who had died, standing among the trees, watching him. "You left us here, Sergeant." The jungle lit up with the glow of ghostly flares, gunfire, screams, and then silence. They found his body 2 days later. No signs of violence, no footprints, just mud everywhere. His camera was still recording. The last thing it captured was Alan whispering, "We were never meant to come home." And just before the tape cut out, you could hear the faint sound of chopper blades and a single voice whispering in Vietnamese, "Still here."